Brothers and sisters, today I want to speak to the one who is weary. I want to speak to the heart that is heavy, to the spirit that feels drained, and to the soul that wonders if it can go on. Hear this: God knows you are tired. He sees you, he hears you, and he understands. He knows the struggle, the pain, and the exhaustion that you've been carrying, whether it's been for days, months, or even years. Life has a way of pushing us to our limits, doesn't it? There are days when it feels like the weight of the world is pressing down on us. Days when the challenges we face leave us physically and emotionally drained. We wake up with heavy hearts, we go through our routines with little strength, and we fall into bed at night hoping for rest, only to find ourselves unable to sleep because of the thoughts and worries that consume us. Whether it's the stress of work, the challenges in our relationships, or the burdens of unmet expectations, exhaustion seems to be a constant companion in our lives. But I want to remind you today that you are not alone in your weariness. God knows exactly where you are right now. He understands your exhaustion. He sees the weariness in your eyes, the heaviness in your heart, and the frustration that comes when it feels like no matter how hard you try, you just can't catch a break. You are not hidden from his sight. Every tear you've shed, every prayer you've whispered in the quiet of the night, every sigh of relief that you wish would come but hasn't yet arrived, God sees it all. He is aware of the struggles you face, the times when you feel like you've given everything you have, and yet it's never enough to bring the rest you so desperately need. God doesn't just see the surface level of your exhaustion, he sees the depth of it. He understands the complexity of what you're going through. We tend to think of exhaustion as something simple. Maybe we're tired because we've been working too much or because we haven't had a chance to take a break. But emotional exhaustion, the kind that comes from carrying burdens that no one else sees, is something much deeper. It's the kind of tiredness that doesn't go away with a good night's sleep. It's the kind of tiredness that comes from dealing with disappointment, loss, and the weight of expectations that others place on you, or worse, the expectations you place on yourself. It's the kind of tiredness that creeps into your soul, affecting your mind, your emotions, and even your physical body. And here's the thing, God knows this. He doesn't just see the tiredness you carry on the outside. He sees the brokenness, the fears, and the unspoken doubts that linger in your heart. He knows what it's like to feel overwhelmed. He understands what it's like to face a situation that seems impossible. In fact, he's been there. Jesus, who walked this earth in human form, experienced exhaustion just like we do. He was tired after traveling and teaching for hours. He felt the weight of emotional burdens too, when he wept for his friends and when he felt the sting of rejection and betrayal. He was no stranger to exhaustion, and that's why he is the perfect one to understand what you're going through. It's in these moments of exhaustion that we often feel isolated. We think that no one understands what we're dealing with, that no one can truly comprehend the weight we carry, but that's simply not true. While others may not fully understand the depths of our fatigue, God does. He knows our limits. He knows the burdens that are too heavy for us to carry on our own, and he sees how hard we fight to keep going. And because he understands our exhaustion, he is always present with us in those moments. What's even more beautiful is that God doesn't just acknowledge our tiredness from a distance. He doesn't just look down on us and say, I see your struggle, but you have to manage it on your own. No, God meets us in our exhaustion. He walks alongside us in our weariness. He is the one who lifts our heads when we can't lift them ourselves. When we feel like we're running on empty, he is the one who fills us back up, not just with physical strength, but with peace that transcends understanding. God knows when you've reached the end of your rope, and he doesn't just leave you there. He's right there with you, waiting for you to turn to him and invite him into your pain. In a world that often encourages us to push through, to hide our exhaustion, and to keep going no matter how we feel, it's a relief to know that God doesn't expect us to do this on our own. We don't have to pretend that we're not tired, that we have everything under control, or that we don't need help. God is fully aware of our limits. He is not surprised by our exhaustion. He is not frustrated by it. Instead, he is compassionate, kind, and ever ready to strengthen us when we are weak. You don't have to hide your tiredness from God. You don't have to pretend that you have it all together. He knows that you are exhausted, and he is there to meet you in that place. God sees the full extent of what you're carrying, and he is not indifferent to your struggles. His heart is full of compassion, and his desire is to restore you, to bring you the strength you need, and to remind you that you don't have to walk this journey alone. When you're tired, God is there with arms wide open, ready to carry you through the storm. When we are overwhelmed, when life becomes too much to bear, it's easy to feel as though God is distant. We may wonder if he is paying attention to our struggles, or if he even knows the depths of what we're going through. In our moments of pain, it can sometimes feel as if we're standing alone in the storm with no one to turn to. But hear this truth today: God is not distant from your struggles. He is not far away, disconnected from your suffering. In fact, he is closer to you than you may even realize, and his heart is full of compassion for you. God's compassion is not passive or distant. It is active and deeply personal. He does not look at your pain from afar, detached and uninterested. No, he is right there with you in the very midst of your struggle. He is present in your pain, attentive to every detail of your life, and ready to meet you in your deepest moments of despair. The psalmist reminds us that God is close to the brokenhearted, that he is near to those who are crushed in spirit. This is not a God who stands far off, only watching from a distance. This is a God who draws near, who enters into our sorrow, who feels our pain, and who listens intently to the cries of our hearts. When we find ourselves in situations where words fail, when the weight of our burdens leaves us speechless and unsure of how to pray, God still hears us. He hears the cries that we cannot articulate, the deepest groans that come from places too painful to express. There are times when the pain is so great, the burden so heavy, that we feel as though we can't find the words to speak, and we are left silent before God. But even in those moments, God knows what's in our hearts. He hears what we can't say. His understanding surpasses our own limitations, and he is able to hear the cries of our spirit, even when we feel too weak to voice them. The Apostle Paul speaks of this when he writes that the Spirit helps us in our weakness, interceding for us with groans that words cannot express. God's compassionate heart hears and understands those groans, and he responds to them with love, care, and tenderness. God is not only present in the moments when we can speak our pain, he is present in the silent moments too. When we are overwhelmed by grief, anxiety, or hopelessness, and words fail to come, God is there. He is listening to the silent prayers of our hearts, understanding the unspoken pain that we carry. We often think that prayer is only effective when we have the right words, when we can articulate our requests and make our needs known. But God's compassion does not depend on our ability to find the right words. His heart is moved by the depths of our need, by the cries that come from our souls, even when they are unspoken. In these moments of silence, it's important to remember that God's compassion is not measured by our ability to speak clearly or to have it all together. It is rooted in his love and his desire to care for us in our weakest moments. His heart is so tender that he can hear the smallest cry of our hearts, even when we feel that no one else understands. God is never too busy, too distant, or too indifferent to listen to you. He is a God who listens not just to the words we say, but to the very depths of our being. We see this throughout the scriptures. In the book of Psalms, David pours out his heart to God, expressing his fears, his frustrations, and his confusion. And in every cry, in every tear, God hears him. We see it in the life of Jesus, who was moved with compassion when he saw people in need. He didn't just speak words of comfort from a distance. He entered into their struggles. He touched their lives, and he offered healing, hope, and restoration. Jesus took the time to listen to the cries of the brokenhearted and to be present with those who were suffering. He didn't just offer theoretical solutions from a faraway place. He got involved, he got close, and he cared deeply. This is the kind of God we serve. A God who doesn't stand back and watch from the sidelines, but who enters into our pain and listens to the cries of our hearts. Whether those cries are loud or silent, whether they are articulated in words or expressed through tears, God hears them all. His heart is full of compassion for you. In every moment of struggle, God is there, drawing near to you, ready to comfort, to listen, and to heal. When you feel that no one else understands, know that God does. He is never far away, and he is always attuned to the cries of his children, ready to respond with his love, mercy, and grace. When we are worn out and weary, The world often suggests that rest comes from a change of pace, a vacation, or a temporary escape from our responsibilities. While these things can offer a brief reprieve, they do not provide the deep, lasting renewal that our souls truly need. True rest, the kind that restores us both physically and emotionally, does not come from simply stepping away from the demands of life. It comes from turning to God. It is in His presence that we find the peace that surpasses understanding, the kind of peace that doesn't depend on our circumstances but flows from His very being. The world may promise rest, but it is a rest that is fleeting and shallow. It offers distractions, diversions, and temporary solutions, but it cannot provide the lasting peace and renewal that we are searching for. Only in the presence of God can we find true rest. God's presence is where our souls can finally exhale, where we can lay down the burdens we've been carrying, and where we can experience the kind of peace that goes beyond our understanding. It's a peace that doesn't make sense to the world because it remains steady even in the midst of storms. It's a peace that settles deep in our hearts, anchoring us in the assurance that we are not alone and that God is with us in every moment. When you are tired, when the weight of the world seems too much to carry, the first step toward renewal is not to keep pushing forward in your own strength, but to rest in God's presence. In that sacred space, we are reminded that we are not meant to carry our burdens alone. God invites us to cast our cares upon Him, to surrender our struggles, and to trust that He is capable of carrying the weight that we cannot. The invitation to rest is not just about physical relaxation. It is about finding refuge in the arms of a loving Father who understands our pain and offers us peace in exchange for our worry and anxiety. God's presence is the place where our souls are replenished. When we enter into His presence through prayer, worship, and stillness, we open ourselves to the deep renewal that only He can provide. It is there in the quiet of His presence that we begin to hear His voice more clearly, that we are reminded of His promises, and that we are refilled with the strength we need to keep going. It's not always an immediate fix, and it's not always about changing our external circumstances. Sometimes it's about allowing God to work in our hearts and minds, to give us the peace and perspective we need to face what lies ahead. Jesus offers us a beautiful invitation to come to Him when we are weary and burdened. He doesn't ask us to first get our lives together or to meet some standard before we can rest. He simply invites us to come as we are tired, burdened, and in need of renewal. And in return, He promises rest. This is not a rest that comes from the world's comforts or from temporary distractions. This is a rest that is grounded in the knowledge that God is in control, that He is working on our behalf, and that His love for us is unwavering. When we rest in Him, we acknowledge that we do not have to have all the answers, that we do not have to solve every problem on our own, and that we can trust Him with our deepest concerns. God's presence is the ultimate refuge for our weary souls. It is in this sacred space that we regain our strength, not through our own efforts, but through His grace. His presence is where our hearts are healed, our fears are calmed, and our spirits are restored. When we come to God, we are not just seeking a break from our responsibilities. We are seeking a deep spiritual renewal that will sustain us for the long haul. We are seeking a peace that doesn't just numb our pain for a moment, but transforms our hearts and minds so that we can face life with a renewed sense of purpose and strength. So when you find yourself feeling exhausted, overwhelmed, or depleted, remember that true rest is found in God's presence. It is there that you will find the peace you need to carry on, the strength you need to keep moving forward, and the hope you need to face whatever comes your way. God's presence is not just a temporary escape from life's challenges. It is the refuge we need to regain our strength, to experience His love and grace, and to be renewed in body, mind, and spirit. In the midst of our weariness, it's easy to question why we have to endure seasons of struggle and exhaustion. When the weight of the world feels unbearable and our energy runs low, we may wonder why God allows us to go through these challenging times. We may ask, why doesn't He remove the burden or change the situation right away? But in those moments of exhaustion, we must remember that God's timing is not our own, and His purposes are always greater than what we can see in the moment. God allows us to experience seasons of weariness, not to break us, but to shape and refine us. These trials are not meant to destroy us, but to mold us into the people He has called us to be. Just as a goldsmith uses fire to refine gold, removing the impurities and making it more precious, God uses the trials of life to refine our character, to strengthen our faith, and to prepare us for the greater work He has for us. It is through the furnace of difficulty that we are made stronger, purer, and more resilient. The process may be painful, and the exhaustion may feel overwhelming, but God's hand is upon us, guiding us even when we cannot see the full picture. God's timing in our trials is always perfect, even when we don't understand it. He knows the exact moment when we need rest, the precise moment when we need to grow, and the exact moment when He will bring about our breakthrough. Sometimes in our frustration and weariness, we try to hurry things along, we try to force solutions, or we grow impatient with God's plan. But God's timing is never late, and it is never early. It is always exactly when it needs to be. His purpose is not to push us past our limits, but to walk alongside us through our limitations, teaching us to rely on Him fully. When we are tired and exhausted, it is tempting to think that God has forgotten about us or that we are being abandoned in our struggles. But this is when His work is most evident. It is in our moments of weakness that His strength is perfected. In times of trial, when we have nothing left to give, God is shaping us and refining us in ways we cannot see or understand. He uses the trials of life to purify our hearts, to build endurance, and to draw us closer to Him. These seasons of weariness are not the end of the story. They are part of God's process of making us more like Him. Through our exhaustion, God is teaching us patience, humility, and trust. He is showing us that we do not rely on our own strength, but on His. The trials we face are tools in God's hands, shaping us into vessels that can carry His glory. Consider the lives of those in Scripture who went through difficult, weary seasons, yet emerged stronger and more faithful on the other side. Joseph was betrayed by his brothers, falsely accused and imprisoned, but God was with him every step of the way, shaping his character, preparing him for the leadership role he would one day take. Job endured unimaginable loss and suffering, yet through it all, his faith in God was refined, and he came out of his trials with a deeper understanding of God's greatness and faithfulness. Even Jesus, in his humanity, experienced moments of exhaustion, temptation, and sorrow. Yet he endured the cross, trusting in God's perfect plan and timing. Each of these examples shows us that God uses seasons of weariness to accomplish His greater purposes. What feels like a setback is often God's setup for something greater. We must trust that even in our fatigue, God is working behind the scenes. He is not idle in our struggles. Every moment of exhaustion, every trial, and every moment of weariness is being used by God to refine us. His timing is perfect, and He knows what is best for us. When we are too tired to see it, He is actively preparing us for the next step in our journey. We may not always understand the process or the timing, but we can trust that He is faithful and that He is using every season of weariness to strengthen our character and fulfill His purpose in our lives. So when you find yourself exhausted, remind yourself that God's timing is not designed to harm you, but to build you. He allows these seasons to refine your faith, to shape your character, and to prepare you for what's next. Through your weariness, God is working on your behalf, and when the time is right, He will bring about the breakthrough, the rest, and the restoration you long for. Trust in His perfect timing, for He knows what you need when you need it, and how He is using this season to prepare you for the greatness that lies ahead. In our moments of exhaustion, when the weight of life seems unbearable and our strength is depleted, it's easy to feel as though we have reached our limit. We may wonder how much longer we can endure, and the temptation to give up can be overwhelming. Yet in these very moments of weariness, we are called to place our trust in God's promises. It is in these times that our faith in God's word must become our anchor, for He assures us that those who wait on the Lord will renew their strength. God's promise is not just a temporary solution to our fatigue. It is an eternal truth that we can rely on with confidence. When we are weary, God is inviting us to trust in His ability to renew and strengthen us. His promise is not that we will never feel exhausted, but that when we do, He will provide the rest and renewal that our souls need. His promise is that our exhaustion is temporary, but His renewal is everlasting. The energy we seek does not come from our own efforts, it comes from Him. He is the one who replenishes us when we are spent, who breathes new life into us when we feel like we have nothing left to give. The promise of renewal is not based on our circumstances. It is not contingent upon how quickly the situation changes or how soon we get a break. It is grounded in the character of God. His nature is to restore, to refresh, and to renew. This promise is for those who wait on Him, who place their trust in Him, even in the most exhausting moments of life. To wait on the Lord is to surrender to His timing, to trust that He knows exactly what we need, and to rest in the knowledge that He is working on our behalf, even when we don't see it. It means relying on His strength, not our own, and trusting that He will meet us where we are. This promise of renewal is not just a fleeting moment of reprieve, it is a continual process that we can rely on throughout our lives. When we trust in God's promise, we recognize that our weariness does not define us. We are not meant to stay in a perpetual state of exhaustion. Through God, we can rise above our limitations. We can soar on wings like eagles, run without growing weary, and walk without fainting. These are not just metaphors, they are real promises from a real God who is able to do far more than we can ask or imagine. Exhaustion may be part of our temporary experience, but God's renewal is eternal. This means that even when we feel overwhelmed by the demands of life, we can be assured that God's renewal is always available. When we place our faith in Him, we acknowledge that His power is greater than our weariness. His strength is greater than our exhaustion, and His ability to restore us is infinite. The renewal He offers does not fade away after a short period of rest. It is not a brief escape from our struggles, but a deep and lasting strength that equips us to face whatever lies ahead. Faith in God's promises reminds us that no matter how tired we may feel, God is always at work in our lives. He is with us in the weariness and the struggles, and He promises to carry us through them. The Bible assures that even in our darkest moments, God is faithful. His word is true, and His promises are unshakable. When we wait on the Lord, when we place our trust in Him, we can experience a peace and renewal that the world cannot offer. So when you are weary, when your strength is depleted, turn to God and rest in His promises. Trust that He will renew your strength, that He will give you the energy you need to press on. Exhaustion is only a temporary condition, but the renewal that comes from God is everlasting. His promise to strengthen and sustain you is a promise you can rely on no matter what you are facing. Hold fast to your faith in God's word, for He will never fail to fulfill His promises. In our moments of weariness, it is not just our bodies that grow tired, our hearts can become burdened too. The emotional weight of life's struggles, disappointments, and heartbreaks can leave us feeling just as exhausted as physical fatigue, if not more so. We may find ourselves overwhelmed by grief, loss, rejection, or unfulfilled dreams, and it is in these moments that we need to be reminded of one of the most beautiful truths in Scripture: God heals the brokenhearted. God does not only understand our physical exhaustion, He sees and understands the deep, unspoken weariness of our hearts. The pain we carry within, the emotional burdens that weigh us down, are not invisible to God. He hears the cries of our hearts, even when we cannot put those emotions into words. Whether we are grieving the loss of a loved one, dealing with the disappointment of unfulfilled promises, or carrying the weight of past wounds, God is near to us, ready to heal, restore, and give us hope. God's heart is not distant or indifferent to our pain. He is not a God who stands far off, observing our struggles from a distance. No, He is close to the brokenhearted. Psalm 34:18 assures us that the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. In our deepest moments of despair, God is not absent. He is present with us, offering His comfort and His peace. He does not condemn us for our pain or weakness. Instead, He draws near to us, offering the healing touch of His love. He understands our hurts, and He is ready to walk alongside us through the healing process. The brokenness of our hearts does not disqualify us from God's love and care. In fact, it is in these moments of vulnerability that God is most actively at work, tenderly healing and restoring us. Just as a mother tends to her child when they are hurt, God gently tends to our hearts, mending what is broken and restoring what has been damaged by life's trials. His healing is not just about alleviating the pain, it is about making us whole again. He takes the shattered pieces of our hearts and puts them back together, creating something beautiful from the ashes of our brokenness. When we are overwhelmed by the burdens of life, it is easy to feel as though we are beyond repair or that we are too broken to ever experience peace again. But this is a lie. God specializes in healing the most broken of hearts. His restoration is complete and His love is never ending. He does not simply patch up our wounds, He transforms them. The scars of our past do not define us. They are reminders of God's redemptive power. Through the healing work of His Holy Spirit, we can move from a place of brokenness to a place of restoration, where the pain of the past no longer has the power to control us. God's healing is not always instant, and it is not always the way we expect. Sometimes the process of healing involves a journey, one where we have to face our hurts, process our emotions, and learn to trust in God's timing. But even in the midst of that process, we are never alone. God is with us, walking alongside us, guiding us toward healing and renewal. His word promises that He is close to us, that He hears our cries, and that He is working all things together for our good. His love never fails, and His healing is certain, even when the road to restoration seems long. So when life overwhelms us, when our hearts are heavy with grief, pain, or disappointment, let us remember that God is near. He hears the cries of our hearts, and He is committed to healing, restoring, and giving us hope. No matter how broken we may feel, God's love has the power to heal and make us whole again. He will restore what has been lost, strengthen what has been weakened, and fill us with His peace so that we can walk forward in hope, knowing that He has made us new. In our brokenness, God's love is always the answer, the balm that soothes our wounds and the strength that lifts us up. As we stand in the midst of our weariness, let us remember that God is not a distant observer of our struggles. He is our ever-present help, walking beside us through every trial. He knows our limits, hears the cries of our hearts, and sees the burdens we carry. His promises to renew our strength, heal our broken hearts, and restore what has been lost are not mere words, they are the living truth. We are not defined by our exhaustion, our pain, or our setbacks. We are defined by the love and power of a God who is committed to seeing us through. So as we face the challenges ahead, let us stand firm in the knowledge that we are not alone. Our God is near. He is working on our behalf, and His timing is perfect. When we are weak, He makes us strong. When we are broken, He heals us. And when we are weary, He renews our strength. Trust in His promises, rest in His presence, and know that no matter the depth of your exhaustion, the greatness of your God is far greater. The same God who created the heavens and the earth is at work in your life, bringing renewal, restoration, and hope. Let us walk forward, not in our own strength, but in the strength of the one who sustains us, the one who has already equipped us for every good work. The journey may be long, but His grace is sufficient. His love is unshakable, and His promise to renew and restore is eternal. Keep your faith in His word, for God will never fail to fulfill His promise to you. Hold on, for your breakthrough is on the way. Your strength is coming, your healing is here, and your God will always see you through.
Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to remind you of a profound truth, a truth that many of us tend to overlook. Your birth date holds a deeper significance than you may realize. It is a reminder, a marker that you are not here by accident, you are chosen. Every birth date is a deliberate act of divine timing. The precise moment you entered this world was not a random occurrence, nor was it left to chance. It was part of a divine plan, a cosmic orchestration that places each individual in the right time and the right season for a purpose that transcends mere human understanding. When you were born, it was a statement from the Creator that your arrival was needed for that exact time in history. The alignment of circumstances, events, and even the people around you were not coincidental. They were divinely arranged so that your life could unfold according to a higher purpose. You see, we often get caught up in thinking that our birth date is a simple marker on a calendar, a day to celebrate once a year. But in truth, it is much more profound than that. It is a stamp of intentionality. The universe did not haphazardly decide when you would arrive. It was determined long before the foundations of the world were laid. Just as the sun rises and sets according to a precise cosmic order, so too does every birth occur within the exact timing set by a divine hand. The timing of your birth was essential to your destiny, and your presence in this world is proof that the Creator saw this moment in history as incomplete without you. Think about it, the timing of your birth was divinely synchronized with the needs of your generation. You could have been born in any century, in any part of the world, but you were born in this time for a reason. The experiences, challenges, and opportunities that define your life are directly connected to the timing of your birth. This is not by accident, but by design. The people you meet, the problems you solve, and the influence you wield are all tied to the fact that you were born exactly when you were supposed to be. There is something this time in history needed, and that something is uniquely you. When we understand that our birth date is part of a divine plan, it changes how we see our existence. We begin to realize that we are not here to merely exist or to pass time. We are here because the universe called for us, and the Creator determined that our presence, our gifts, and our contributions are essential for the fulfillment of a higher purpose. Purpose always precedes existence. Long before you were born, your purpose was already established in the divine mind. Your arrival on this earth was not the beginning of that purpose, but the continuation of a greater plan that existed before time itself. The truth is, no one is born into this world without a reason. Every human being carries within them a unique potential, a gift that only they can bring to fruition. The fact that you are here is proof that the Creator saw a need that could only be filled by your life, your talents, and your existence. This is a powerful realization because it means that life is not a random journey. It is a journey filled with intent and meaning. Many people go through life wondering if they truly matter, if their existence makes a difference. But when we grasp that purpose precedes existence, it eliminates any doubt about the significance of our lives. You were created with a specific role to fulfill. The challenges you face, the desires within you, and even the dreams you hold are all connected to that divine purpose. They are not accidents or arbitrary thoughts. They are clues to the path you were designed to walk. Consider this: before a builder constructs a house, an architect first designs it. The plans are drawn, the foundation is calculated, and the structure is envisioned before a single brick is laid. In the same way, your life was carefully designed before you ever entered this world. Your purpose was not created after your birth, it was created before your birth. Your existence is simply the manifestation of that divine plan coming to life. The purpose for which you were born is not a small or insignificant thing. It is tied to the very fabric of creation. Whether you realize it or not, the world is waiting for the unique impact that only you can make. Every talent you possess, every skill you've developed, and every experience you've endured is connected to the fulfillment of your purpose. You are here because the Creator decided that the world would be incomplete without you. Your life is a solution to a problem, a light in a dark place, and a vital piece of the grand puzzle of humanity. Your generation needs you. You were not born into this time by chance, nor were you placed in this generation without reason. There is a divine intention behind the season of your birth, and it is tied directly to the needs, challenges, and opportunities of this era. Every generation has its struggles, its battles to fight, and its mountains to climb. And every generation is given individuals who are uniquely equipped to address those specific challenges. You are one of those individuals chosen to be a voice, a leader, and a change maker in your time. Think about it. Why were you born in this century and not in another? Why do your talents, dreams, and experiences align so perfectly with the needs of this world right now? This is no coincidence. The problems of your generation were anticipated long before they arose, and the solutions were already planted in the hearts of people like you. This means that you have something to offer that this world is waiting for, something that only you can bring. The generation in which you were born is not an accident, but a calling. You were sent to this time because the Creator knew that you carry answers to the questions your generation is asking. There is a tendency to look at the world around us and feel overwhelmed by the magnitude of the challenges we face. Whether it's social injustice, environmental crises, or economic instability, the issues of our time can seem insurmountable. But understand this: every challenge is a divine opportunity for purpose to emerge. Your generation is facing these issues not as a sign of defeat, but as a stage for your greatness to shine. The very fact that you are alive during these times means you are meant to be part of the solution. The Creator placed you here to meet the needs of this specific moment in history. Your birth was perfectly timed to coincide with the moment when the world most needed what you carry. Your ideas, your creativity, your voice, all of these are crucial for your generation. You are not just a participant in this time, you are a contributor, a leader, and a visionary. Your generation is depending on you to rise up and fulfill your purpose, because the problems of today require the gifts that only you can provide. Understanding the power of your identity is crucial for realizing the magnitude of your potential. Your birth date signifies more than just the day you entered this world. It represents your unique identity and the calling that accompanies it. Many people wander through life unaware of their true identity, often adopting labels and roles that do not reflect their genuine selves. They may define themselves by their jobs, relationships, or even by societal expectations, losing sight of the divine purpose that is uniquely theirs. But when you begin to understand that your birth date is not merely a number, but a divine stamp of identity, everything changes. Each individual is born with distinct gifts, talents, and characteristics that set them apart. Your identity is a composite of these traits, intricately woven together by a Creator who had a specific plan in mind when you were brought into existence. When you embrace the reality that your birth date marks you as a unique individual, you begin to see yourself as part of a larger narrative, a narrative that is essential to the unfolding of history. Your identity is not only personal, it is also collective, connected to the greater story of humanity and the divine purpose that calls us all. Recognizing the power of your identity also means acknowledging the responsibilities that come with it. Each of us has a role to play in this world, and understanding who you are enables you to step into that role with confidence. Your identity empowers you to overcome obstacles and face challenges head-on, knowing that you are equipped with the necessary tools to succeed. You are not just here to exist, you are here to thrive and to contribute to the world in ways that only you can. This understanding liberates you from the confines of mediocrity and propels you toward greatness. Moreover, when you grasp the significance of your identity, you begin to reject the negative narratives that society may impose upon you. You start to see yourself as capable, valuable, and essential to the mission at hand. This shift in perception allows you to step into your purpose with a sense of authority, courage, and clarity. You realize that you have been entrusted with gifts and abilities that are meant to make a difference. As you grow in self-awareness, you become empowered to take action, to pursue your passions, and to fulfill the destiny that your birth date signifies. Your identity is not a hindrance, it is the key that unlocks your potential and allows you to impact the world in profound ways. You are chosen for impact. This truth resonates deeply with the understanding that your life is not merely about your own journey, it is about the mark you leave on the world. Each person is endowed with the potential to make a significant impact in their community, society, and even beyond. The fact that you exist in this time and space is evidence that the Creator has equipped you to fulfill a specific purpose that contributes to the greater good. Your birth date is a reminder that you are not just a passive observer in life, you are an active participant, a change maker designed to address the issues of your generation. To be chosen for impact means that your voice, your actions, and your very presence carry weight. You have the ability to influence others, to inspire change, and to challenge the status quo. Every person you encounter is an opportunity for you to make a difference, whether through a kind word, a bold idea, or a passionate pursuit. The choices you make, the values you uphold, and the dreams you chase have the power to create ripples that extend far beyond your immediate surroundings. Each of us is a catalyst for change, and understanding this empowers us to act with intention and purpose. Many people underestimate their potential to make an impact, often thinking that their contributions are too small or insignificant. But remember, great movements are often sparked by individual acts of courage and conviction. History is filled with examples of ordinary people who made extraordinary contributions simply because they chose to act. Your birth date signifies that you too have been entrusted with the potential to create change in meaningful ways. Whether it's through your career, your relationships, or your community involvement, you have a role to play in shaping the future. Being chosen for impact also means embracing the responsibility that comes with it. It is not enough to simply exist. You must actively seek ways to use your gifts for the benefit of others. This involves stepping out of your comfort zone, taking risks, and being willing to stand up for what you believe in. The world needs your unique perspective and the contributions that only you can offer. This is not about seeking recognition or accolades. It is about being true to who you are and fulfilling the purpose for which you were born. As you navigate through life, remember that every moment is an opportunity to leave a lasting impact. Whether it's a small act of kindness or a bold initiative that challenges the status quo, your actions can resonate through time. Your birth date is a declaration that you are chosen for such a time as this, equipped to influence the world around you in ways that reflect your unique identity and purpose. Embrace this calling, for you are meant to leave your mark, and the world is waiting for your contributions. Your birth date ties you to a legacy that extends beyond your time on earth. This legacy is not merely a collection of accomplishments or accolades. It is the impact you have on those around you, the values you instill in others, and the wisdom you pass on. Understanding that your life is part of a larger narrative allows you to see yourself as a vital thread in the intricate tapestry of human history. You are not just living for today, you are contributing to a story that will continue long after you are gone. From the moment of your birth, you inherited a legacy that has been passed down through generations. This legacy is shaped by the lives of those who came before you, your ancestors, mentors, and even your peers. Each of these individuals has played a role in forming the values, beliefs, and knowledge that you carry within you. When you recognize this connection, it becomes clear that you are not just an isolated individual, but part of a continuum. You are tasked with honoring the legacy of those who have gone before you, while also contributing your unique perspective to that story. Moreover, the choices you make today will reverberate through time, affecting not only your life, but the lives of countless others. The principles you uphold, the relationships you cultivate, and the seeds of kindness you plant will grow into a legacy that shapes future generations. Every action you take, no matter how small, has the potential to inspire, uplift, and guide those who follow in your footsteps. This understanding instills a sense of responsibility, prompting you to live intentionally and to act with purpose. Your life can serve as a beacon of hope and a source of inspiration for others. Consider the stories of great leaders, innovators, and thinkers throughout history. Their legacies live on, not just because of their accomplishments, but because of the ideals they embodied and the lives they transformed. You have the power to be part of such a narrative. Your birth date serves as a reminder that you have the opportunity to leave a mark on the world that will be felt long after you are gone. This is your legacy, crafted through your choices, your values, and your actions. Embracing this truth means understanding that you are a custodian of the future. You have the chance to influence the direction of your family, community, and even the world. Your birth date is not just a personal milestone, it is a connection to a larger purpose that encompasses generations. As you reflect on your life and the impact you wish to have, remember that you are a vital part of a legacy that extends beyond your own existence. It is your duty to honor that legacy while also shaping it for those who will come after you. The question is not whether you will leave a legacy, but what kind of legacy you will leave.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are living in a time where relationships, whether personal or romantic, can shape the very trajectory of our lives. We all desire meaningful connections, but not every relationship is ordained to help us thrive. Some relationships come as distractions, some as traps, and others as tests of our strength and faith. I want to speak to you today about 7 dangerous signs that God may be warning you about a relationship in your life. These signs are not to be ignored.
There are the whispers of the Holy Spirit guiding you, urging you, and protecting you from destruction. The first sign is constant emotional turmoil. When we find ourselves in relationships, we often expect them to bring us joy, peace, and a sense of fulfillment. Relationships are meant to uplift us, support our growth, and help us become the best versions of ourselves. However, not all relationships are designed to bring us closer to our purpose or align with the destiny God has prepared for us. If you find yourself consistently feeling drained, confused, or unsettled in your emotions, it is time to pay attention to that internal unrest. This emotional turmoil is not just a coincidence or a normal aspect of any relationship. It is often a sign that something deeper is at play. Emotions are a reflection of our inner state. God has given us emotions as a gift to navigate life, but they are also indicators of our well-being. When we feel peace, joy, and contentment, we are often in harmony with our surroundings, including the relationships we engage in. However, when we experience prolonged emotional distress, confusion, and a sense of being unsettled, it becomes evident that something in the relationship is misaligned with our true purpose. Emotional turmoil can manifest in various ways. You might feel emotionally drained after every interaction, leaving you feeling exhausted and worn out, unable to recharge. Or perhaps you experience confusion about the relationship, where one moment everything seems fine, but the next you feel overwhelmed by doubt and uncertainty. This confusion can be a reflection of a deeper misalignment between you and the other person involved. Your spirit may be in conflict with their energy, their intentions, or their actions, leading to a constant state of internal dissonance. Sometimes the emotional turmoil may take the form of constant anxiety or tension. Instead of feeling peace in the relationship, you find yourself in a heightened state of alert, constantly anticipating conflict or waiting for something negative to happen. The unpredictability of the relationship can trigger feelings of insecurity, fear, and stress, leaving you constantly on edge and unable to experience the sense of calm that God desires for you. In some cases, emotional turmoil can make you question your own identity and purpose. If a relationship consistently pulls you away from your core values, passions, and beliefs, it can create a sense of confusion that clouds your judgment and weakens your connection to your own sense of self. When you are emotionally unsettled, it becomes more difficult to discern God's voice, as the noise of turmoil drowns out the clarity He offers. It can also leave you vulnerable to manipulation, as the confusion makes it harder to see things clearly and make decisions based on God's will rather than emotions. When God allows us to experience this kind of emotional distress, He is calling us to examine the relationship more deeply. Our emotions are a tool He uses to guide us back to His perfect plan. If you are constantly feeling drained, confused, or unsettled, it may be God's way of telling you that something is out of alignment with your purpose. He is giving you the opportunity to step back and reassess whether this relationship is helping you move forward in His will, or if it is leading you away from the path He has set before you. Second, compromise of your values. One of the most profound ways that a relationship can disrupt your peace and spiritual well-being is through the compromise of your values. Your morals, beliefs, and spiritual convictions are the very foundation of who you are. They shape your actions, decisions, and how you interact with the world. When you are in a relationship where these core values are continually being challenged or undermined, it is a clear warning sign that the relationship is not aligned with your true purpose. In that sense, as human beings, we all hold to certain principles that guide us, often rooted in our faith, culture, upbringing, and personal experiences. These values form the lens through which we view the world. They provide us with direction, integrity, and a sense of purpose. When someone in your life, whether they are a partner, friend, or family member, consistently pressures you to let go of or compromise those values, it can lead to confusion, internal conflict, and even a loss of identity. This is not just an issue of personal preference. It is about the very essence of your being. In relationships, we should never feel as though we must sacrifice our values in order to maintain peace or keep the other person happy. A healthy relationship should support and strengthen your values, not challenge or diminish them. If you find yourself being constantly nudged to make compromises that go against your morals, whether it's in the area of honesty, respect, integrity, or faith, it is a dangerous sign that something is wrong. This is particularly true when those compromises seem to be small at first but gradually become more significant. At first, you might find yourself tolerating a little lie or a small disrespect because you want to avoid confrontation or keep the relationship intact. But over time, these compromises add up, and the line between right and wrong becomes blurred. God has placed His commandments and teachings in our hearts for a reason, to guide us toward a life that reflects His goodness and love. When a relationship begins to steer you away from these values, it is no longer in alignment with God's will for your life. Often, the compromise of your values can manifest in various ways. You might feel pressured to engage in behaviors or activities that contradict your moral or spiritual convictions, such as participating in gossip, dishonesty, or unethical practices. In a romantic relationship, this might involve being pushed to ignore boundaries, compromise purity, or neglect spiritual commitments. Such compromises are not harmless. They slowly erode your sense of self-worth and your connection to God. The more you allow someone to undermine your values, the more you risk losing touch with your true identity and the purpose God has for your life. You may begin to rationalize or justify behaviors that you once knew to be wrong, all in the name of keeping the peace or holding on to the relationship. But the longer you remain in this state, the more spiritually disconnected you become. It's important to understand that God does not want us to be unequally yoked with others who do not share our values. This is not about judging or rejecting people, but rather about recognizing when a relationship is pulling us away from our spiritual foundation. If someone truly cares for you, they will encourage and support your growth in righteousness. Not when your values are consistently being challenged. It is God's warning that the relationship is misaligned with your divine purpose and that it's time to reassess its place in your life. Your core beliefs and morals are too precious to be sacrificed for the sake of any relationship. The third sign is the lack of peace and clarity. The absence of peace and clarity in a relationship is one of the most significant and powerful signs that God may be warning you. Peace is a gift from God, and it is one of the ways He communicates with us. When God is silent, or there is a sense of unrest whenever you are around a particular person, it is not a mere coincidence. It is a divine message that should not be ignored. God uses our emotions, especially the lack of peace, as a tool to guide us and help us discern what is right and wrong for us. Peace is not just the absence of conflict. It is a deep, abiding sense of calm and assurance that comes from knowing that you are in alignment with God's will. It is the sense that everything is as it should be, that the relationship, situation, or environment you find yourself in is not only safe, but is also contributing to your growth and purpose. When peace is absent, it's often because something in that relationship is misaligned with the path God has set for you. If you consistently feel uneasy or unsettled in a relationship, it's a sign that something is wrong. This unrest might manifest as anxiety, tension, or a constant sense of uncertainty. Instead of feeling secure and at ease, you may find yourself in a state of confusion, not sure whether you can trust the other person or whether the relationship is moving in the right direction. This internal unrest is a warning signal from your spirit, alerting you that this relationship might not be conducive to your emotional, mental, or spiritual well-being. Furthermore, when God is silent, it is another clear sign that you are not receiving divine confirmation about the relationship. God speaks to us in many ways, through His Word, through prayer, through the counsel of others, and through the inner witness of the Holy Spirit. If you have been seeking God's guidance and feel nothing but silence, it is important to listen carefully. Silence does not always mean God is absent. Often, it is His way of telling you that He has already given you the answer, and you need to pay attention to the signs He has placed in your heart. God is not the author of confusion. He provides clarity and peace for those who seek His will. If you are experiencing silence instead of clarity, it is time to step back and evaluate the relationship. Another aspect of this lack of peace is the feeling of being pulled in different directions. You might feel torn between your relationship with this person and your sense of spiritual peace. God has designed us to follow His peace. When that peace is absent, it's a clear indication that the path you are on is not the one He intended for you. This sense of being pulled in two directions is a powerful internal signal that your heart is not at rest, because something in the relationship is not aligned with your purpose and calling. Listening to that inner voice of warning is crucial. Your spirit knows what is right and wrong, even when your mind tries to justify a relationship that causes you distress. God's peace will always guide you toward His will, and when that peace is absent, it is a sign that you need to reevaluate your circumstances. Trust in the divine guidance of peace and clarity. When God's silence is not a void, it's an invitation to turn inward and reflect on the state of the relationship, allowing His Spirit to lead you to the right path. Next, we must consider patterns of disrespect. When you begin to notice consistent patterns of disrespect or dishonesty in a relationship, it is a glaring red flag that cannot be ignored. Disrespect and dishonesty are not just minor offenses. They are foundational issues that can erode the very integrity of a relationship and, more importantly, your spiritual well-being. These behaviors are not just a sign of an unhealthy relationship, but they also signal that something deeper is spiritually wrong. God has called us to live with integrity, honor, and truth. And any relationship that continuously undermines these values is misaligned with His will. At the heart of every relationship is trust. Without trust, there can be no genuine connection, no sense of safety, and no opportunity for growth. Dishonesty directly undermines trust, and when dishonesty becomes a pattern, it creates a toxic environment where truth and openness are no longer valued. When you find that dishonesty is allowed to persist, it's a warning that the relationship is spiritually toxic. Lies, half-truths, and manipulations poison the bond that should be built on mutual respect. And they create an environment where deceit becomes the norm rather than the exception. Respect is another fundamental element of any healthy relationship. Respect is about valuing the other person for who they are, honoring their boundaries, and appreciating their dignity. When disrespect becomes a pattern, it indicates a disregard for the sanctity of the relationship. Disrespect can manifest in many forms: regarding your opinions, belittling your feelings, ignoring your needs, or violating your boundaries. If these behaviors are not addressed, they can slowly erode your self-worth and cause you to question your value in the relationship. The issue becomes even more serious when these patterns of disrespect or dishonesty are continuously ignored or tolerated. Often we make excuses for the other person's behavior, hoping that things will improve on their own. We may even convince ourselves that it's not that big of a deal or that we should be more patient and understanding. But this line of thinking only allows the negative behavior to continue unchecked. God does not want us to remain in relationships that dishonor us or lead us away from His truth. By tolerating these patterns, we are compromising our integrity and accepting a situation that may be spiritually damaging. Disrespect is a form of spiritual oppression. It diminishes your worth and diverts you from the path God has set for you. The longer you allow disrespect or dishonesty to go unaddressed, the more likely it is that you will begin to internalize those behaviors, accepting them as normal. This can distort your perception of healthy relationships. And God's desire for us is to be in relationships that bring out the best in us. Relationships where we are honored, valued, and treated with the love and respect we deserve. If you are in a relationship where dishonesty and disrespect are constantly being ignored, it is time to take a step back and reevaluate whether this relationship is aligned with God's will for your life. God calls us to walk in truth, love, and honor. When these basic principles are absent, it is a clear indication that the relationship is not spiritually healthy and may be pulling you away from His purpose for you. The fifth sign is an inability to grow together. One of the clearest signs that a relationship may not be in alignment with God's purpose for your life is the inability to grow together. Growth, both personal and spiritual, is an essential part of life. We were created to evolve, to stretch, to move forward in purpose and destiny. However, when a relationship consistently holds you back, stifles your progress, or prevents you from reaching your full potential, it is a glaring sign that this relationship may be a stumbling block rather than a source of support. Every healthy relationship should contribute to the growth and development of the individuals involved. It should encourage and support the pursuit of dreams, goals, and spiritual growth. Relationships, whether romantic, familial, or platonic, should never act as chains that bind us to mediocrity or stagnation. If you find yourself constantly feeling restrained or limited in your growth because of the relationship, it's time to seriously reflect on the dynamic. A relationship that hinders your growth can manifest in several ways. For example, you may find that your partner, family member, or friend is unsupportive of your goals, ambitions, or spiritual walk. Instead of encouraging you to reach higher or strive for more, they may subtly undermine your confidence, dismiss your dreams, or make you feel as though you are too much or not enough. This lack of support can be emotionally draining and can cause you to question your abilities, your worth, and the purpose God has placed within you. Moreover, relationships that hinder your growth often lead to a sense of stagnation. Instead of moving forward in your life, you may feel stuck in a place of complacency. There is no forward momentum. There is only a continuous cycle of the same issues, doubts, and limitations. This stagnation is not of God. He calls us to walk in freedom, to be transformed by the renewing of our minds, and to press toward the mark of the high calling He has placed upon our lives. Any relationship that keeps you trapped in a cycle of complacency is not helping you fulfill the divine potential God has in store for you. Another sign of this hindrance to growth is when the relationship draws you away from spiritual development. If your faith is weakened or your relationship with God is compromised because of the relationship, it is a serious issue. God is the source of all spiritual growth. And any relationship that pulls you away from Him, whether subtly or overtly, is preventing you from growing in His grace. A healthy relationship should encourage you to grow closer to God, not cause a separation from Him. If you find that your spiritual life is being undermined, this is a red flag that the relationship is spiritually unhealthy. God's purpose for your life is to live a life of abundance, of growth, and of fulfillment. When you are in a relationship that continually limits your growth, it is a sign that this connection is not part of His divine plan for you. Instead of encouraging you to pursue greatness, this relationship may be fostering a sense of dependency, fear, or limitation that prevents you from stepping into the fullness of who God has created you to be. When you are walking in the divine calling God has placed upon your life, you should feel empowered, uplifted, and inspired. You should feel like you are moving toward your destiny with confidence, knowing that the relationships in your life are meant to support, not stifle your growth. If the relationship you are in constantly hinders you from growing spiritually, emotionally, or personally, it is not aligned with God's purpose for you. God's plan for you involves progress. And if this relationship is keeping you from that progress, it is a sign that it may be time to reevaluate its place in your life. Now, pay close attention to the isolation from support system. Isolation from your support systems, your family, friends, or spiritual community, is a profound warning sign that a relationship may not be in alignment with your God-given purpose. These support systems are not just casual connections, they are divine safeguards placed in your life to help guide, protect, and strengthen you. When a relationship starts to cause a rift between you and the people who care about you, it is a red flag that something is wrong, and that the relationship is pulling you away from the very resources God has given to help you grow and thrive. God designed us to live in community. We were not created to walk this journey of life in isolation. In His wisdom, He established family, friends, and a spiritual community to help us navigate life's challenges, to provide counsel, to hold us accountable, and to offer love and encouragement. These are the people who see us for who we truly are, and they are often the ones who can help us discern God's will for our lives when we may be too close to a situation to see it clearly. When a relationship begins to isolate you from these essential support systems, it is a dangerous sign that the relationship is spiritually detrimental. Isolation can occur in many ways. At first, it may be subtle, a small disagreement with family or friends that leads to fewer gatherings or conversations. Over time, this can escalate into a complete withdrawal from those who once provided you with wisdom and encouragement. In some cases, the person in the relationship may actively discourage you from spending time with your loved ones or attending church or spiritual activities, often under the guise of wanting to spend more time together. However, this kind of behavior is a form of control and manipulation, subtly pushing you further away from the very people who can help you stay grounded in God's truth. When isolation sets in, it is easy to become emotionally and spiritually dependent on the person you are in the relationship with. This can cloud your judgment and cause you to become less discerning about their behaviors or the negative impact the relationship may be having on your life. Without the support and guidance of your community, it becomes harder to recognize unhealthy patterns and the subtle ways in which the relationship may be leading you astray. A true relationship should have multiple moving parts. Some relationships can rise and fall at the same time. God never intended for us to become disconnected from those who help us grow. The people in your life who provide wise counsel, hold you accountable, and pray for you are divinely placed to ensure that you remain on the path He has set before you. If you find yourself drifting away from these vital relationships, it is a warning sign that the current relationship may not be in alignment with God's plan for your life. So, it could be serving as a stumbling block, causing you to lose sight of the community and connections that are meant to protect and strengthen you. When you feel isolated, take a moment to reflect on the dynamics of the relationship and ask yourself whether it is helping you grow or hindering you. Are you becoming more distant from those who love you? Are you beginning to lose touch with your faith and the support that helps you stay rooted in God's truth? If the answer is yes, then God's design for your life is one of balance, community, and mutual growth. If a relationship is pulling you away from that divine design, it's time to reassess its role in your life. Lastly, recurrent unresolved conflict in a relationship is a powerful and undeniable sign that something is amiss. If the same issues keep resurfacing without resolution, it is not merely a matter of communication breakdowns or misunderstandings. It is a warning from God that this relationship may not be in alignment with His will for your peace, healing, and growth. God has called us to live in harmony with one another, to seek peace, and to resolve conflicts in a way that builds understanding, strengthens bonds, and promotes spiritual growth. When a relationship is marked by perpetual conflict that never finds resolution, it indicates that the relationship is spiritually unhealthy and possibly detrimental to your well-being. Conflicts are a natural part of any relationship, and no two people will ever agree on everything. Disagreements are not inherently wrong. They can be opportunities for growth and understanding when handled correctly. However, when conflicts become repetitive and unresolved, it is a sign that the relationship is stuck in a negative cycle, unable to move forward. God is a God of order and peace. His desire is for His children to live in peace with one another. to be reconciled, and to grow through the challenges they face. If the same arguments continue to resurface without resolution, it means that the relationship is not fulfilling its purpose for peace and healing. The failure to resolve conflict in a relationship often indicates that the underlying issues are not being addressed. Instead of finding solutions, there is a tendency to brush problems under the rug, avoid confrontation, or sweep matters aside until they inevitably resurface again. This creates a toxic pattern where issues remain unresolved and continue to fester. It becomes clear that the relationship is not conducive to personal or spiritual growth because the unresolved conflicts block any opportunity for healing or progress. Furthermore, when conflict becomes the dominant feature of a relationship, it prevents the couple from focusing on the higher purposes God has for them. Rather than working together to build each other up, their energy is consumed by constant strife and contention. In this kind of environment, spiritual growth becomes stunted, and instead of becoming more aligned with God's will, both individuals can become more distant from their true purpose. The locale purpose of the marriage, a relationship that is caught in the cycle of recurrent, unresolved conflict, is pulling them away from the peace, unity, and growth that God desires for them. God calls us to live in peace with one another and to work through conflicts in a way that brings healing, restoration, and mutual understanding. The Bible says, "Blessed are the peacemakers," Matthew 5:9. And it is clear that God's desire is for His people to seek peace and reconciliation, not to remain in a perpetual state of turmoil. When conflict continues to arise without resolution, it's time to listen to God's warning and acknowledge that this relationship is not fulfilling His design for peace and growth. If you are in a relationship where the same issues continue to divide you without resolution, it is time to step back and evaluate whether this relationship is truly aligned with God's purpose for your life. God's plan for you is one of peace, healing, and growth, not of perpetual conflict. Recurrent unresolved conflict is a clear sign that the relationship may be a stumbling block to the fulfillment of God's will for your life. Beloved, as we reflect on the signs that God may be warning us about a relationship, let us not take these signs lightly. Relationships are meant to bring us closer to God's purpose for our lives, to refine us, and to help us become the people He has destined us to be. However, when a relationship is filled with constant emotional turmoil, a compromise of values, disrespect, isolation, unresolved conflict, and a hindrance to growth, it is not aligned with God's will for us. These patterns are not just coincidence. They are divine warnings meant to guide us towards a place of healing, restoration, and purpose. If you find yourself in a relationship that exhibits any of these signs, do not fear to take the necessary steps to remove yourself from harm and step into the fullness of what God has for you. Trust that God will always guide you toward peace, healing, and divine alignment. Remember that your worth is found in Him, and He desires to lead you into relationships that help you fulfill your divine destiny. Do not settle for anything less than the peace, growth, and love that God has promised you. The relationships that He has ordained for your life will empower you, elevate you, and propel you forward into His glorious purpose. I encourage you today, listen to His voice, heed His warnings, and align yourself with the relationships that will lead you into the fullness of His plans. Know this: God has a divine purpose for your life, and no relationship should stand in the way of that purpose. Stay faithful, stay prayerful, and trust that God is guiding you every step of the way. The best is yet to come, and as you walk in His wisdom, you will experience the peace and growth He has intended for you in every area of your life.